Management of the University of Port Harcourt has called for a full investigation into the killing of a 300-level computer science student, Godwin Akpakpan, allegedly hit by a stray bullet fired by a yet-to-be-identified soldier. Akpakpan was reportedly returning from a lounge near the university on April 16th when this incident occurred. His family urged the police cover-up. His family alleges a police cover-up, claiming security agents are shielding the identity of the military officer involved. His brother Francis said he was informed by a caller claiming to be a police officer that Godwin had been shot. But attempts to identify the shooter have been so far frustrating. The Rivers State Police Command explained that the student was caught in crossfire during a clash between civilians and soldiers after a stop-and-search operation by police uncovered suspected Indian hemp. Police Public Relations Officer Grace Ngirige Koko said the military bullet hit the student's vehicle, leading to his death. However, she did not name the military formation involved. UNIPORT, in a statement by spokesperson Dr. Sam Benu, expressed sorrow and demanded justice. The university pledged full cooperation with security agencies and called for calm among students. Management assured the public of renewed efforts to ensure student safety and prevent future tragedies. Another day, we are here back, talking about things that happen in the society and Society Watch, and we have another painful and unnecessary death. What are your thoughts on this report?
What are my thoughts? I wish my thinking would just take a vacation, leave me thoughtless, as if I don't know what is happening in the world around me. This is a young boy,
right?
300 level, computer science, a sought-after program, as it were. I mean, humans generally are valued, but reading computer science, if you consider where the world is going,
right,
where the world is and where it is going, that guy is potentially an asset to to himself, his family, and maybe the nation and the world at large. But here, we have him cut short under circumstances that are still very hazy. He went to watch a football match, was coming back. They were in a vehicle. I'm wondering how far he went to watch the match. The brother said the lounge. I would have thought that since he's a student, maybe he watched the match somewhere around UNIPORT as is there. But wherever it was, he was coming. You found substances in their vehicle. You couldn't identify the owner. You carried everybody there. This issue of, the Nigerian security system have a way of the mob reaction we accuse citizens of at times. The security agencies play it out on another level. If an incident happens here now, let's say a murder, and that is why the moment something happens, everybody runs away. Even those who would have been useful in investigating that matter run away, because the moment the police comes, they pick up everybody. And it's not just picking up people to question you, maybe find out how complicit you are in the matter and let you go. Most of the times, if you are picked up, you could be there for months, or it would cost you fortunes to come out. Or in this case, the young man and the others were picked up. How did they get into the crossfire? They met some soldiers. This story. Now, as at the time the stray bullet came from, so since the police were already involved, I don't want to believe that the vehicle was escaping, except there was an altercation between the police and the soldiers. If it were just between some soldiers arguing with some people, and you identify yourself as maybe police people that has gone to make some arrest, why was the vehicle shot at?
I want to ask you, why do you think security personnel are now seemingly trigger happy? Before we conclude at something, I think last week there was this report about, 2 weeks ago, a report about the father taking his child for WAEC, and that child was shot dead. The approach that is being used, why do you think other proactive measures, that can't be the only stop point? Why do you think these vehicles vehicles aren't chased down, or other means to arrest?
Let me make a correction.
Right.
It is not now, like you said, why do you think they are now trigger happy? This is something that seems to have been a characteristics of the Nigerian society. If you remember EndSARS, EndSARS was a protest orchestrated by police brutality.
Right.
And at the peak of that police brutality was unnecessary killing of some people. Before now, even as a young child, you have always heard, even before I knew the meaning of the word stray bullet, I've always heard stray bullet hitting somebody, you know. So it has always been there, but these things has persisted because the system has not made a concrete effort to retrain the officers on weapon handling, sounding it loud and clear to them that for every human rights abuse, not just death now, for every human rights abuse, you would go in for it. If the system has been cautious to avoid human rights abuse, we won't be having this death. Of course, death is at the peak of right abuse. I mean, right to life is at the peak of your right. So if the system had even made an effort to be cautious against those in authority, not just the security men, everybody in authority, you know, abuse of power, abuse of human rights, these things won't occur. But you see, like what is happening now, the story doesn't look clear. It does appear that there's an attempt to call, because if you say, a soldier shot, at that time the soldier shot at your police, what did the officers do? I mean, these are not just ordinary students going. Policemen arrested them. Maybe there was an altercation, or maybe it was an accident. There was no altercation. They aimed at somebody. You know, did the police people notify the soldiers? Did they take note of the soldiers? Why did it take so long before identifying? You know, before reaching out to the family of the victim? And then, after that, between then, unfortunately, we are not given the time of the incident now. Why is it taking so long for the police to reach out to the military authorities and let them know what happened? Let's even see if the military authority would, you know, try to fish out what, at least, even if they don't know the name of the person that shot, they know the location where the incident happened.
Right.
I mean, as a time a human has been shot, wouldn't you military vehicles have plate numbers? Wouldn't they have gotten the plate number?
The name of the unit.
The name of the unit. Those things are displayed on the vehicle. But the minimum is at least getting to know, at least you know the location. You don't have to make an effort to know the location. You were there when it happened. You report to your superiors. They reach out to the military authorities. If they have this basic information, as this thing happened, as also location, it will be easier for the military authority to know which of their men were at that location.
Now, from or it's just not being mentioned.
I'm beginning to feel like it's either there was actually no military shooting. It's possible that this whole thing will just be an excuse from the police, because I want to believe that if I mean a terrible act has been committed, and all eyes is on you, and you're not exactly the person who committed the act, and you know the consequences of being accused of that murder. If you're not the person, it won't take you much to state clearly what happened. At least let us even hear that they have approached the military authorities, the police authorities have approached the military authorities, say on so day. I mean, those are things that wouldn't have taken 24 hours to happen. A few hours ago, our men made some arrests and we are coming in. Your men at so location had an altercation with whoever, and a stray bullet from one of your men hit one of the persons you have arrested. If that was done immediately, these things happen, it would be easier for the army authorities. If you didn't do it, maybe a month has lapsed. These guys that don't have record of where their men are at each time, do you think it will be easy for them now to start going back in memory to trace who was where at some time? But if at that particular time it happened, you reach out to your authorities, the authorities, I mean, every time we talk of synergy between security authority, even before the formal request is made, if they have this synergy, they would have reached out to the military authorities and say, oh, we were coming back with, you know, from social arrest, there was an incident involving your men. It has led to a fatality. You mentioned the location. The military authorities will know which of their men were at what location at that time. But, I mean, if that has not been done, the spokesman of the police don't know, said it's not a cover-up, etc. It suggests that there is something they are not telling us.
Sadly so. Now, Because of how frequent we've had this report only this year, what do you think should be done as regards these reforms in the police? I know that we have talked about a similar situation where you mentioned, retraining.
Absolutely.
What else do you think should be done, and why do you think it's currently not even being done, given how much budget is laid aside for security and its personnel?
Why it is not being done is simple: the corruption in the Nigerian system. You see, the challenge with corruption, it goes beyond the monetary aspect of it. It blurs everything. It blurs the thinking. Because if you have a system, maybe your recruitment system is poor, the training process is poor, every other thing comes into play. Because if these guys are proper, you recall, like you mentioned in this incident in Ibadan, where the policemen said they wanted to shoot at the tire, and then, the last time I checked, the tire of a vehicle is at the wheel, and the wheel is at the bottom rung of the family. So how aiming at a tire went to hit somebody in the car is still a wonder. It suggests something. The guy may be a poor shooter, maybe poorer than even some of us who has not even had any plans of attending any training of that sort. Because if you have them properly trained on weapon handling, have them properly trained on human rights, how to respect human rights, and also make them understand that their primary responsibility is security of life. There is one common cliche we learned in school those days. It's about security, that it is better to allow 100 criminals escape than killing an innocent person in the bid to get that criminal. But it seems to be the reverse with what we see here. So if you train them, know the importance of preserving each life, make them know that their primary duty is the preservation of life and property. In fact, the reason that institution exists is because there is a need to protect life and property.
Right.
The reason they go after criminals is because those criminals are a threat to lives and property. If they understand this, that their paramount reason, they are raising the extra, is protection of life and properties, they won't be the one snuffing out innocent lives. These stories are not something we will hear every so often. And when it happens, the system should be readily available to punish erring culprits, the personnel that were involved. If it is negligent, if it is, you can't just sweep it under the carpet, but it suggests something, that the right thing, the reforms, the authorities are not in a hurry to carry out the reforms. They are not in a hurry to, to them, protection of human rights is even not, if the authority have been issued respected human rights from the top to the down, their conscience would be pricked if they hear that somebody who should be protected died. They would ask the right question. And if those are the top, ask the right questions, then it will reflect on the conduct of the authorities, of the police officer, and then it will trickle down to the men on the streets.
Thank you.